Hi everybody, Joe here from SHUTTERSPEAK Photography. Nice to see your smiling faces again here on YouTube. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about focus peaking on the Nikon Z6 and Z7 series cameras and how it works and how you can utilize this to make your projects even better than they were before. So, a couple of things about focus peaking, but first, before we get into it, I'd just like to say I appreciate you watching. And if anything in this video is helpful, please do me a favor and help me by hitting like and hitting subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified of future videos when they're posted. I truly appreciate that, and that is the best way to thank me if anything in this video helps you out, and I hope it does. So let's get started. So first thing I want to say is focus peaking on the Z6, Z7, in case you're not aware, only works in manual focus mode. So if you have a manual focus lens, if for some reason you have the NOC f0.96 lens, which I have shot with, by the way, and had used focus peaking with, and I'll actually put up a picture of that a little bit later on. If you have a manual focus lens, this is gonna save you. This is gonna be just a fantastic feature that you're going to want to use all the time. So it comes set to off, by the way, so let's turn it on. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is turn on focus peaking. So let's take a look at the menu. Let's go over to custom settings, the pencil, then to shooting and display, and then head on down to D10, peaking highlights. Press OK on your command dial, and this is what it's going to look like for you if you've never turned it on. It's going to be off and color is going to be red. Okay, so when you select peaking level, you're going to see that there are 3 sensitivity levels. There's low, standard, and high, and this controls the depth of field that you're going to see in your peaking menu. So low sensitivity, recommended for macro photography. Standard is going to give you a little more depth of field, and then high sensitivity is going to give you the greatest illustration of depth of field when you are shooting using the peaking highlights. I like 3, so I'm going to select 3, and we're going to leave the color at red for now. Okay, let's get out of the menu. Okay, and we are now back at our X-wing, which is going to be our subject, and you can see the peaking highlights already in red. So let me just switch this lens to autofocus, and you can see the peaking highlights go away. Switch it back and you see that they come right on there. Okay, so basically how this works is as we change the focus dial, you'll see different parts of the image come in and out of focus as depicted by the red highlights in the image. Now this only works again in manual focus lenses or autofocus lenses that are switched to manual. For the purposes of this video, I'm using the Nikon Z6 f1.8 lens switched to manual mode. So I'm going to go ahead and I programmed the I button for peaking highlights, and I have a video where I show you how to customize the I button. So I'm going to go ahead and put a card up at the top of this video now for that peaking, I'm sorry, not the peaking level, the I menu video, so you can check out how to customize the I menu. But so you'll see in my I menu I have peaking highlights right there. So all I need to do is press I on the back of the camera, select peaking, and I can change the level, turn it on or off, and change the color, which is something I want to do here. Okay, having red on the subject means that it's going to get a little confusing showing what's in focus and what's out of focus using red peaking highlights. So I've switched it to blue because there is no blue in the subject, and you'll see it's a lot easier now to see what's in focus and not. On the back of your Z6, Z7, you're going to see a magnifying glass with a plus and a minus. So by hitting the, let's go ahead and put the focus point over our pilot, hitting the plus sign will zoom you into the focus point. And now just by changing the focus wheel, you'll see how things come in and out of focus. and I can choose exactly where I want my depth of field to be. Okay, so let's go right about there. Hitting the magnifying glass with the minus sign will pull you back to regular, and then I can take a picture. And now let's take a look at that picture. Okay, so let's zoom in, and we can see we have some nice focus on our pilot, and that's pretty good. Okay, so now this is not a lesson on depth of field, but one of the wonderful things about the Nikon Z6, Z7 cameras is that we can see what our image is going to look like before we take the picture. So if I dial this now down to f1.8, okay, you can see how dramatically the depth of field has changed. So now you can see my pilot is in focus, but the front of the ship is out of focus, and I could change that just by hitting the dial here, and you see where the blue starts to come in. Okay, and I can just pull that focus point down if I wanted to. And it will turn green when I have it just right. A little difficult to do because it's super sensitive. Okay, but you can also see where the blue is, and that's going to indicate what's in and out of focus for me. Okay, so very close, and you can see how out of focus the pilot is. And again, if I want to change that, just dial it the other way. And again, now look how out of focus the nose of the ship is compared to the pilot. So let's take that picture. And now let's hit playback. And let's take a look at that. Let's zoom in on our pilot. And again, look at that. Zoom out. Let's just compare it to the previous. Oops. Okay, there's our image, f1.8. Let's compare it to the previous f16. Look at the difference in depth of field, 1.8 versus 16. Okay, so you can see how focus peaking really helps you out when you're taking images of non-moving subjects in terms of depth of field. So again, let's take a look. Let's zoom in, and now you can also change where you're. Once you hit that magnifying glass with the plus on the back, you can use the command dial to move around in your image and check out focus. Okay, let's dial that back a little bit. Again, there he is. You can see how the face and the eyes start to get the blue, and that looks like a pretty good focus point if we wanted the pilot. Now, using the minus sign with the magnifying glass again, you can see that depth of field and the difference between the front and the back. And again, just pull the back in, use the magnifying glass. Using the directional pad, we can move around and again see how that changes our depth of field dramatically. Okay, so that's pretty much how focus peaking works. It's very simple to use. I've actually used this on the Noct, and it makes a big difference. It's pretty much a lifesaver when you're using a lens like that, and I'll actually show you what that image looks like. You can take a look at that, and that's it. So that's how focus peaking works in the Z6, Z7 cameras. It's great for any still subject, macro photography, or if you just want to have a really solid idea of what your depth of field looks like. It's pretty easy to use. And again, you can easily program that also from your I button if you wanted to. And so that's it. So great to see your faces again here on YouTube. I hope you found that helpful. And if you did, please help me out by hitting subscribe, ringing the bell so you get notified of future videos when they come out, and hitting the like button on this one. And if you have a question, by all means, leave me a comment, because I do try and answer all of the questions. And once again, if anything here helped you, please help me by hitting that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye, YouTube.